there's the two cameras. I did film unboxing them and everything, but this silly camera up here didn't record it. So there's the first one. That's the camera without audio. That's this one here. There's the second one. I've got two of each of these. That's the camera with audio. This one here, you can see it has the audio jack on it, and it came with the microphone. That's the same camera as this one here. On the microphone wasn't very good, so actually I put this using this microphone here. This is good in a way that it's not kind of built in, and if it's a crappy microphone, you're stuck with it. Put your own microphone on. But anyway, this camera here plugged into that switch. There, it's powered up. The light's going away on it. This one, just going to the green light to come on. It is. And I'm just going to set these guys up here just temporarily. That just for the purpose of getting them configured. And I did check the user manuals on them. This camera, the one with the audio, its IP configuration is dynamic, which means it gets an IP address from the house. This camera is pre-assigned a static IP address, 192.168.1.10. So we'll go through the process of getting those set up. All right, so we're here at my computer. This computer is actually the video surveillance server for the house. I also use it for my video editing. It's an AMD, I think 5600G or X. My son put it together for me. I got him started in computers a little bit when he was younger, but now I go to him for advice on computers, but he set it up for me with proper graphics and graphics processors and all that stuff. But anyway, that's for another day. Here we are setting up some Power over Ethernet cameras, and I just saw that I plugged two of them in. One of them was no voice, no audio, and the other one was audio. So let's start with the one that did not have audio, and it was given an IP address of 192.168.1.10. Now the IP addressing in my house is not on the 192 address, it's on 10.10.10 network address. So there's no way for me to get to that 192 address from this computer the way it's set up right now. So let me just go into control panel, go into network here. Let me start the ping first. For ping, let's go to the command prompt. 92.168.1.10. That's the address of that camera. Yes. Now, of course, it's not going to find it because the computer has no way of getting to that network. Just drop that down here. Go to the Ethernet settings. And this is the wired connection in the computer. TCP/IP, IP version 4, properties. Go to the advanced setting here. I'm doing it this instead of changing the primary address on this computer to 192.168.1 subnet. I'm just adding a secondary address. That saves me the trouble of problems that would be associated, because this, like I said, this computer is currently running the video surveillance system for the house, and all the cameras are communicating with the known 10.10.10, I think it's .20 address. I'll just leave that one alone. Yeah, you can see right there. There's the address of the server. So I'm going to add an IP address, 268.1, and it can be anything. The range from 1 to 253, of course, excluding 10 because that's the camera address. I'll just use 1. Don't need a subnet mask or a gateway. I mean, you do need a subnet mask. That's the subnet mask right there. You don't need a gateway because the two are on the same subnet. So let's close that up. It's waiting right now. There we go. So there's the camera now replying. So we've got communication with the camera. Network setup. Go to our browser. Get to it from the browser. Looks like it. Oh, I didn't look in the manual for what the username is, but typically it's just admin. It's never been used to be admin with no password. Yeah. Oh! It's upside down. You can flip that. Find a way to flip it. Okay, in the web interfaces for these cameras are all quite different. So, a little bit of trial and error. Let's go to more settings here. What I'm looking for, 3 primary ones. The time, make sure the time zone is correct. I want to name the camera, and I want to change its IP address to something within the 10.10.10 network. And the camera system that I have set up now, 10 or 12 cameras or something, it starts at 240 and goes up. So I don't want to go any higher with the numbers because they're already getting into the 250 range. So I'm going to go, I have 4 cameras to set up below 240. So I'm going to go 235, 6, 7, 236, 237, 238, and 239. So if I find where the IP address goes on this in a second here. First, there's a time zone. Might as well change that while I can here. Everything else looks alright. Loading, that's usually okay. Yeah, that's fine. Network. Before I change the network address, because as soon as I change the network address on this, it's got DHCP enable, but it still has an IP address. A bit odd, but anyway, before I change the IP address on this camera, I want to change the name of it, wherever the name might be. It's in general, machine name, localhost. I do not think that's it. Four cameras, A, B, C, and D. So I'll start at D. That doesn't sound right. Machine name. Whatever. Go back to live here, see if it. Oh, let's see, it's called Cam 11. Cam 01. So somewhere in the configuration, I'm looking for where they're describing this as Cam 01. That machine name's what it was. Localhost. cam 01, so I want to call this MD. Yeah, I'll go into network. It's 10.10.10.236. 236, 7, 8, and 9 TS. Gateways, the router in the house, 10.10.10.1. I don't know what that is, but we'll just change it to the Google secondary DNS. That should do it. Oh, I may want to change the admin password when I get back into it. Yep, that worked. Advanced account. There we go. Change the password. Their modified password. Great, save that up. Security issues must be set. I don't know what that meant. Oh, security questions, really? Contact cannot be empty. Gee whiz. A little extreme here. I had to see if I can skip that. Yeah, I didn't really have to put in those security questions. Okay, so that one's good to go. So I can close that, go back into my control panel, get rid of that secondary IP address. Not needed anymore. It just clutters up the network unnecessarily. Okay, so next step here, I'm going to go into my security software. I use a product called, I think it's called Agent iSpy or iSpy Agent. And, it's free software. There's a paid subscription version if you're running multiple servers. You get updates and whatnot for additional plugins and patches and things like that, but I don't use that. So, oh, license personal use only. There we go. Personal use. So There's some of the security cameras. Some of them I just have turned off right now. They're not serving any purpose. But the ones in the garage, they recognize some of those images. I want to set up a new camera here. New device. It's an ONVIF device. Record on detect. Name. Called it bench. D. Location. I have these locations set up, so ONVIF. And the cool thing about this is it scans the network for ONVIF devices. So what did we use there? We used 236. That's it right there. Now I don't know if I need a username and password for this device, but we'll find out by trying to get the video URLs. Yeah, I don't need a username and password for this camera. So it should have two streams, a low resolution and a high resolution. So I use the low resolution for the live URL, conserve bandwidth, and when it detects motion, record from the high definition stream. So a couple other things I want to check here in recording. Motion detect, raw record, that's fine. That records in, I always forget the format of that. I'll remember it in a minute. Doesn't record in MP4 anyway, which is fine for the applications that I use. Nothing else there to change, so that's all good. Storage. Yeah, it just makes these random folder names, so just to keep it organized, I like to keep the folder name that it stores the videos to be the same as the name of the camera. And that's it. So there it is there. The image is upside down. Oh, so there's two things I can do there. One, I can either flip that image in the video surveillance software, or sorry, it didn't change the name there. Still Cam01. Or go into the web interface, which I'll have to do anyway because for some reason it didn't. Maybe I didn't click save, but it still says Cam1 right there. It should say bench Cam-D. But the thing is, if I flip the image in the video surveillance software, all these dates and everything will be upside down as well, because the video surveillance software doesn't know those are there. See, it actually puts its own right there. So what I'll do later is I'll go back into the web interface for the camera, fix that name, and flip the image. There's always somewhere deep inside that configuration. It usually takes a while to find how to flip that by 180. So that one's done. So now, while we're in here, you saw that facility in this software where it searched and found the camera, and we can use that to actually find the other camera. So let's set up the other device. Again, it's ONVIF. Record on detect, that's all good. This one is going to be bench C. Plug it in the garage, ONVIF. So what I'm looking for here is that camera was DHCP. It's got an IP address from the network. So it's going to be something not in the range that I'm using for my camera. So it's going to be in the 10.10.10. lower number range. That's it right there. See, 179? That's not in the range of IP addresses that I use for my computer, so that's what the network assigned to that camera. I'm going to go ahead and just acknowledge that 10.10.10.179 and then open it up another browser window. Probably no password. That's what we will see. Yeah, it's asking me to change the password, so. Log in again. Okay. Same idea. Change the date and time, device name. This one is MC. Save that. Remember to save it this time. I don't think I remember to save it on the last one. Date and time. Be there. Save it. And where is the network? Narrow that down there. Just basic stuff here. I don't want DHCP. I use 236 for the other one, so I'm going to use 237 for this one. Let's see that. Now these cameras, the ONVIF cameras, they typically have a motion sensing function within the camera itself. I'm going to get disconnected here, of course. They have a motion sensing capacity within the camera itself, but I don't use that because you saw just the interfaces between those two types of cameras. The web interface is different. It's impossible to keep track of. So I probably have 5 or 6 different types of cameras. And I would rather use the motion sensing capability within the surveillance software, because then it's consistent from one camera to the next. You're always configuring them the same regardless of how the camera itself manages its motion sensing. I really don't even need to log in again because it's all done. Let's go back to here. Now I'm going to cancel that. Go back to ONVIF. Did a rescan. 236. What did I say it was? 236 or 237? Benchcam C. There we go. 237. Video source 237. Get video URLs. Getting the video URLs. That usually tells me that this camera needs a username and password. Get that information. Hopefully that's it. Yep, that's it. Again, substream, mainstream. Exactly the same process as with the last one. Check my recording, raw record, motion detect. Use GPU. I might go through an extra turn, use GPU off, because with this many cameras it starts to touch the processing power in the GPU. And, my video editing software is GPU heavy, but I can do that later. Big deal. Recording, storage. This is just a folder name. This here is the directory that it stores the stuff in. and this is the folder name. So everything that this camera records, I want it to be under the folder name Benchcam C. And that's it. It's really as easy as that. And there's that camera right there, and it is showing up as Benchcam C. So saved word. Well, again, you might recognize that image there. This one came in as normal. I guess this other camera here was meant to be mounted upside down or something initially. Whatever, I'll just go in and flip it over. And so that's how you set up. First part of the video was setting up the cabling. We created some patch cords, installed a power over Ethernet switch, and installed 2 power over Ethernet cameras. So that's all she wrote for this one. It turned out to be a little bit lengthy, but thank you so much for watching, and please like, subscribe, and comment or send me any questions. Thanks, and have a great day.